Hello everyone, welcome back to the Skilling Open 2020 finals. On the first day, the match between Wesley and Magnus was quite epic. All four games were decisive. Magnus won the first game, and on two occasions, Magnus was leading in the match, but Wesley, with a never give up attitude, fought back twice in the match and drew the first rapid match. On the second day, the second rapid match was another fierce battle where Carlson won the first game, putting more pressure on Wesley, but Wesley had come with a very strong motivation. He won the second game and leveled the score 1-1, after which third and fourth games ended in a draw where the match had to move on to the blitz section. Now, let us see the glorious moment which gifted Wesley the title of Skilling Open 2020. I know by now you are all excited, so without wasting any further time, let us get started. So, in game 1 of the Blitz section, Magnus and Wesley reached this position. Magnus was playing black. Here, Wesley has just played the c6 move, trying to exchange this pawn and create connected passed pawns on the queen side. Now, Magnus to this move responded with d4, trying to protect the b7 pawn using his bishop. But this d4 certainly turned out to be a big blunder. I would want you to pause the video here and think for yourself. Try to find what did Wesley do here. Okay, if you have found the move Rook F1, you're doing a really good job. And for those who have not found it, let me explain you why Rook F1 wins the game for Wesley. Now, after Rook F1, the point is the bishop is getting pinned, the bishop is also hanging. Now, black has two ideas here to save the bishop. Either he can just go g4 to defend it, but in this case, the bishop still remains pinned, using which white can play c into b7, attacking the rook. Black's bishop is still pinned, so cannot take it. Rook to b8, a6, and then it's clearly winning because of the two advanced passed pawns on the queen side. Okay, so another option here, which is slightly better than going g4, was to play rook h8, which Magnus did in the game. King came to g1, rook h1 check, king f2, rook into f1 exchanging the rook. Now you can say, okay, the pin is gone. It's a bishop endgame with equal pawns. What's the difference? Why is white so winning here? But if you're careful here, you have to calculate a bit deeper. Bishop into f1, and now after bishop into c6, okay, he has not allowed white to create connected passed pawns, but this one pawn, just one pawn on the rook's file, on the a file, is extremely powerful. It's unstoppable actually, and that is one advantage in same color bishop endgames. If you see, it's a light squared bishop for both the sides, and this bishop cannot control these squares because white's bishop is just going to offer a trade. And if you look at these pawns, they are not coming anywhere near to block this diagonal to stop the trade. So after bishop into c6, white went for b5, attacking the bishop. The bishop had to step back, a6, b into a6, b into a6, threatening a7, a8. So d3, this was just a desperate attempt. But Wesley did not panic. He simply captured bishop into d3 first before playing a7. Now king e5, maybe bishop c8 was a better option, after which a7, bishop goes to b7, king e3, king e5, bishop a6, let's say bishop a8, and then bishop e2. Even this endgame is clearly winning for white because of this passive bishop. Now the point is white wants to play bishop f3, offer a trade to this bishop, which black cannot really stop. How is he going to protect the f3 square? He can't play g4 because white is not impatient. He's just going to take it and then come back to f3. So this is clearly winning for white. But anyway, king e5 is even worse, which Magnus played in the game. After king e5, a7, bishop c6, and according to white's original plan, bishop to f1. Idea is to come to g2, offer the trade, and then there's nobody from black side who can defend this pawn's a8 promotion. So with this game in the blitz section, Wesley went on to leading the match with a score of 1-0, and Magnus just had one more round to come back in the match. If he wins the second round, then it would lead to the Armageddon game, but this is not what Wesley wanted to allow. Let us quickly see what happened in this second Blitz game, which also turned out to be the decisive factor in this match. In the second Blitz game, Magnus reached this position with white pieces. Looks quite better for white. White's knight is forking the rooks currently, but he's not going to win an exchange because black is already having an extra minor piece. So it will be a rook versus two minor pieces. But another important aspect which we need to notice here is these two connected passed pawns on the queen side, which are going to be very dangerous to defend. Okay, so here black played bishop e5, trying to pressurize the b2 pawn, to which Magnus played a move which he would never play even in his dreams. So this shows Magnus was not in the best of his shape on the day 2 of the Skilling Open final. Here he played knight into c8, which a lot of players were surprised to see. The concept is generally when the fork is still existing, you should never rush to capture any piece, because black has not yet moved any piece out of the fork. He can just play rook db1, trying to create something on the queen side, supporting the pawns to advance on the queen side. And then once he moves this rook, let's say he goes rook c2, then white can play rook into c8, gaining one very crucial tempo, and white is clearly better with very good winning prospects and coming back into the match. But Magnus missed this moment. He played knight into c8, after which rook into c8, rook a b1, rook a8, a3 was forced, knight d5. And now if you see, black's pieces are getting very active in the center, and at the same time, these pawns are not advancing. They are not able to advance because there is a lot of pressure on them. You cannot push the b pawn because a3 is hanging, and you cannot really defend the a3 pawn in a very effective way, after which you can push the b pawn. So basically, white's pieces are stuck. They need regrouping, but it's not possible because there is no time with these minor pieces. You will see in the game how these minor pieces came on white's position very actively. Rook dc1 was played, f5, h3, g5. Obviously, black needs to create something on this side, because here black needs to just control the pawns and make sure they do not advance. Don't create any open files on the queen side, because white's pieces are mainly on the queen side. After g5, king f1, h5, rook c2, trying to regroup, but it's taking a lot of time. g4, creation of counterplay on the king side. King e2, knight on the d7 square is getting improved now. It wants to go to the e4 square, where it is going to create a lot of pressure on white's position. Okay, rook a1 was played. Maybe he can play something like rook a2 and then start pushing the pawns. But actually, it's far too late as compared to what black is getting in the center and the king side. f4 was played. H into g4, f into e3, f into e3, knight into g4. Bishop h4 check, king d6, e4 attacking the knight. Here, Wesley played a very strong move. Knight g to e3 is not worried about this attack. He's doing a counter attack. He's attacking this rook on c2, which has to move, because if he plays something like this, Wesley, if you remember, has won the first match, so he's quite happy with a draw. If he keeps moving this, black is able to draw the game. But he did not play that. Obviously, Magnus wants to win this game to fight back in the match, to take the match to the Armageddon game. So after knight g3, white decided to play rook cc1, as Magnus wants to play for a win. He knows that this move is not the best, but he still has to fight. He has no other option. He cannot agree for a draw and give up on this match. So rook cc1, black decided to take the g2 pawn. Bishop goes to f2. Knight gf4, another check. See, this knight is hanging for a long time now, but there was no time for white to grab it. King f3, bishop into b2. Black is saying, yes, you can take my two pieces for your rook. I'm happy to draw this game. Black is clearly better. Black can play for a win, but Wesley doesn't want to risk anything. After bishop c5 check, king d7, e d5, bishop into c1, d into e6, knight into e6, Rook into c1, knight into c5, rook into c5, rook into a3, and everything is getting exchanged. King f4, h4, king g4, h3, rook h5, just waiting for white to offer the rook trades. Rook into h3, rook into h3, king into h3. And with this game, the Fischer Random World Champion Wesley So defeated the current world champion, highest rated player Magnus Carlsen with one of his best tournaments, one of the best plays displayed by Wesley So. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have found this video instructive, do like the video, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will get notified whenever we upload another instructive video for you. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. See you soon.